Alright, so upon Rizal's leaving Plaridel alone in the La Solidaridad, now let's proceed to the discussion of the last, and the last section, which is in the eyes of Noli Me Tangere. Okay, so in this section, it provides a summary of Rizal's novel Noli Me Tangere, wherein it focuses on the symbolic representations used by Rizal in depicting the social, the cultural, and the political issues during Spanish colonial era. And this section provides and presents the context in which Noli Me Tangere was written and published, as well as the manner of its distribution. Alright, so in 1876, Jose Rizal initially took up philosophy at the University of Santo Tomas, right? But heeding the advice of his headwit friends, Rizal opted to take medicine instead in 1878, which he was not able to complete. And in 1882 nga, Rizal left the Philippines to go to Spain because of a secret mission attested by a deal between him and his brother or older brother, Pasiano Mercado. So the highlight of the deal between the two brothers was that on one hand, the young Rizal would have to observe the life overseas and prepare himself to liberate the Filipino people from the tyrannical abuse of the Spaniards. And on the other hand, Pasiano Mercado would take responsibility of looking after the family in the Philippines and finance Rizal's studies overseas. So the mission was even kept from the parents. So, yan. So after finishing his medical studies, in 1885 at the Universidad Central de Madrid, Rizal was able to finish the manuscript of Noli Me Tangere in 1887. So to keep up with the very expensive publication cost, Rizal had to remove some chapters of the novel to reduce the number of pages. And of course, with the help of some friends, in Madrid, the loan offer of Maximo Viola and portions of his allowance sent by his brother Pasiano, Rizal was able to print 2,000 copies of the novel in Berlin and sent some of the copies to his friends in Madrid, to Ferdinand Blumentritt, and to the Philippines, wherein the Archbishop of Manila immediately denounced that it's heretical, impious, and scandalous. Yun nga. And the story of how Noli Me Tangere was distributed in the Philippines amidst the strict censorship implemented by the Spaniards can be attributed to the efforts of Jose Maria Basa, the hero smuggler of the propaganda movement. And through his connections and thriving business, he was able to arrange Hong Kong to Manila trips for Filipinos, which became the way for subversive and anti-friar pamphlets to reach the hands of the Filipinos. So one of them was Noli Me Tangere. And according to reports, the Filipino travelers who served as couriers were instructed. Okay? Yan. So, were instructed to to disembark the ships without the books, which were usually hidden in the coal bin of the ships, and they would then hire a carretela and the books usually placed inside the buri sacks and the carretela, and afterwards they would pretend to forget something in the ship. So after some time, the cochero would inspect the buri sacks and find the books. He would either dispose or leave them, and another arranged carretela would pick up the sack for the Filipinos. Yan. And then, the role of the role of Noli Me Tangere in the development of Filipino consciousness can never be discounted. However, its significance in the 21st century has greatly diminished, considering that the Philippines is no longer a colony and has long been an independent nation. Nevertheless, many of the points raised by Rizal in Noli Me Tangere remain relevant today, especially when the current threats to Philippine sovereignty. And that's the end of the discussion of the lesson 3, Rizal's national consciousness. And that's the end of discussion of this section. Thank you for listening.